So anybody who knows how bad New York can get all came out against Mamdani because a 33-year-old with zero experience running anything except a little office with 5 employees should not be running the city of New York.
Donald Trump is president of the United States. His experience was being on The Apprentice. He's head of the Pentagon whose experience was being a weekend anchor on Fox. Are you kidding me? He's got Dr. Oz is in his administration. Dr. Oz,
you're leaving out something. He's a 33-year-old socialist who's never run a popsicle stand.
He's literally in city government right now. Sorry. After Donald Trump, I'm sorry, after Donald Trump and his Pinky in the Brain administration, no one ever gets to talk about qualifications.
Socialism will not save the
bottom line is, what I want to ask you a question. What is your evidence that Mamdani would return New York City to the 1970s hell?
First of all, I just have to step in here because these people, I don't even have words to describe it. All they have are name calling and ad hominems. The socialist, he's going to ruin New York. He's going to come in and ruin the capitalist capital of the world. Well, there are, how many thousands of homeless people, people struggling to pay rent, people struggling to get public transportation. They act like New York City is like some utopia thanks to this, unfettered capitalism that's been running rampant for years. And that somehow, you're going to get not a socialist, a democratic socialist. And so, part capitalist in there. And that everything is just going to go back to the 1970s. And you're going to have crack and drugs and like people, the squeegee man are going to come out of the rafters again. Like this is total fear mongering bullshit. Brain melt, brain rot, like just fucking, I don't even have words to describe it. And look, you can already see in this guy's face, she's going to pose a real question to him. And he has absolutely no idea what he's going to say. He has no clean, clear, good argument. All they have is socialist, communist, and nothing else. The reality is we haven't had a lefty like Mamdani actually in a position of power to be able to affect the changes that we would that are necessary. All we've had are milquetoast, centrist, neoliberal, neoconservative, center right, and hardly even center left candidates or people to be able to affect actual change. Finally, you have someone speaking clearly and saying what they're going to do, and guess what? People actually voted for it. So these people, their brains are breaking in front of our very eyes, and I hope that this movement continues. Let's see his rebuttal.
Whole Times Square. What is your evidence of
It's very simple. So he wants to raise taxes on people who make the most money. What eventually is going to happen is you're going to lose that tax base. Once you lose that tax base,
this is their argument every single time. Oh, you can't. You raise the taxes. We're just going to get up and go. We're going to get out of here. It doesn't happen. It's fairy tale, made up, complete nonsense.
our bonds will get degraded. Now the city budget will not be substantial enough to subsidize not only the cops, but the fire department, the sanitation department. Once you start losing Wall Street and people who pay $11,000, $12,000 a month to live on the Upper East Side, you're done.
Let me ask you.
And you go back to the 70s when Gerald Ford said to New York, drop dead.
Okay, but
and
hold on, Arthur.
Crisis.
But Arthur, just as somebody who is just listening to you, you raise the taxes on wealthy people in this city, maybe a couple percent, right?
They're already at 50%.
Yeah, they're already
53%.
and that's exactly my point.
They're
already paying some of the high. I know, Arthur, but Arthur, they are already paying right at this moment some of the highest taxes in the country, and you think that 1 or 2% is going to cause a mass exodus out of New York?
Haven't just said it's correct. It already has started.
I just want to be clear that that's what you're saying, because I think that seems pretty extreme.
Because he's also not going to focus on crime. Right now, you have Police Commissioner Tisch and John Chell, the chief of the department. Crime in the city of New York right now.
See, this guy's worldview is that you take care of crime by deploying the cops into the streets, by sending the military into the streets, by cracking skulls, and by raiding and searching people's pockets, and all of this like anti-democratic, anti-societal bullshit where you just like snuff out and like stuff down the populace. What Mamdani is talking about is he's talking about addressing crime, but he's talking about doing it in an economic way. When you raise people's socioeconomic status, when you raise people's level of comfortability, they have less of a propensity to go in and commit crimes and to do things out of desperation. A lot of the times people who commit crimes is not because of it's not because of any, like, random circumstances, because of socioeconomic circumstances and desperation. And when you have that rampant in a city, that's when you have crime. This guy has absolutely no idea what he's talking about.
Is set to break all records as the lowest ever in recorded history for shootings and murders. Once that starts going up in the other direction, and the tax base is gone, and sanitation is gone, and schools are gone.
Okay,
why would crime go up? And what would cause
hold
crime to go up?
on. Last thing I will say, and then I'll let you in, Anna. The last thing I'll say, and then I'll let you in. Under Eric Adams, crime did go up in the city.
And then went down.
Yes, but
that was during the pandemic.
Yes,
and migrants.
Exactly. But I'm just being clear.
It was during migrants.
Crime has already gone up in New York, and it has come down. So even when crime went up in New York, there was perhaps some departure, but there was not a collapse of the tax base in New York City. Okay, Anna, go ahead.
Okay, so I am not a New Yorker. I live in Miami, where we don't have 50% tax rate.
And it's like I've already
we have our share of insane elections and insane politicians, but this reminded me, you talked about the Dinkins election. To me, this reminded me of the AOC versus Joe Crowley election, where there was this establishment sacred cow who thought that because of his name and because of his pockets, he could walk into it. And there was a young upstart who put a lot of leather and a lot of footwork and boots on the ground and did it. And so, I would say, when it comes to New York, do not underestimate the sweat of these folks. And by the way,
he won. I'm not underestimating.
I would just say this.
And I would not have voted for him.
If you were saying that Eric Adams is the person loves this result the second most compared to after Mamdani.
He'll be the anti-Mamdani.
But I will say this. The people who hate
this guy's delusional. People hate Eric Adams. People hate Eric Adams. He's one of the people look at Eric Adams, and this is from talking to actual New Yorkers. They talk about him in the same breath as de Blasio, but worse is the vibe that people feel towards Eric Adams. People hate Eric Adams.
This result the most of the Democratic establishment. We have seen poll after poll after poll showing Democratic voters fed up with their leaders in Washington, fed up with their leaders in government. And all of a sudden, Andrew Cuomo, who 5 years ago was leading those COVID, press conferences, was this guy who was held up in such high esteem. And now all of a sudden, the best he can do is what, 37%?
62% of Democrats.
They were talking
62% of Democrats say that they're
So Republicans
in place.
All right, and then everybody starts talking over it. Anyway, crazy. Do you like my background, by the way? I just can't with these people, man. I just cannot with the I don't know if it's ignorance or disingenuity or just greed or whatever it is. They have their worldview and they're just like, they're so dense. It's just like this boomer, like mega hyper, like capitalist drivel mindset bullshit. Anyway, they're wrong. He's wrong. Mamdani actually has ideas and he's going for leadership. He has potential to be a superstar. Hopefully he is able to bring it across the finish line in the general election. This is just the primary, as we know, so we will see how it ends up from there. Let me know what you guys think about that election. If you're from New York, how do you feel about Mamdani? How do you feel about Eric Adams? How do you feel about Andrew Cuomo? All these people, and moving forward, who are you going to vote for? Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.